2021 appropriation has, therefore, been themed the budget of economic recovery and resilience.
President Muhammadu Buhari presents 2020-2021 budget proposal to the National Assembly.
Papers will be provided for senators to indicate the day they want to make their contribution.
Senate reacts to the budget.
I hope in November everything will be in place and the 7 return trips, making 14 trips a day.
And Nigeria is set to resume hourly train service. Hello, you're welcome to NTA Network News. I am Joseph Johnson in Abuja. Dotun Ogunyemi is in Lagos. Of course, let's start with the budget because at 13.08 trillion naira budget of economic recovery and resilience has been proposed for expenditure by the federal government for its services in the 2021 fiscal year. Now, the budget is expected to accelerate the pace of the nation's economic recovery and diversification, enhance competitiveness, as well as ensure social inclusion. President Muhammadu Buhari presented the appropriations bill before the joint session of the National Assembly for consideration. He thanked Nigerians for their perseverance and continued support during these difficult times, saying, however, that his administration will remain unwavering in its commitment towards achieving a brighter future for everyone. State House correspondent Adam Musamba reports.
The 2021 budget presentation is coming barely 2 days after the joint executive and legislative retreat in Abuja, where participants resolved to sustain their genuine collaborative efforts at enhancing good governance and effective service delivery to Nigerians. The ambience here clearly indicates unity of purpose as well as avowed commitment by all to accelerate the pace of national development. The 13.08 trillion naira budget proposal is designed to further deliver on the goals of the Economic Sustainability Plan, which provides a clear roadmap for Nigeria's post-COVID-19 economic recovery as a transitional plan from the ERGP to the proposed 2021 to 2025 medium-term National Development Plan. The budget is made up of 5.65 trillion naira recurrent expenditure, 3.12 trillion naira debt service, as well as 3.85 trillion naira for capital projects, which is 1.05 trillion naira higher than the 2020 provision of 2.69 trillion naira.
Capital expenditure in 2021 remains focused on the completion of as many ongoing projects as possible. We have also made efforts to ensure equity in the distribution of projects and programs in the proposed budget. I will be providing the National Assembly a list of some of the most critical projects which we must work collectively to ensure they receive adequate funding. Until projects reach completion, they do not deliver the dividends of democracy that Nigerians rightly deserve.
Works and Housing Ministry received the highest capital allocation of 404 billion naira, 256 billion naira for transportation, and 190 billion naira for the power sector. The 2021 budget is predicated on a benchmark oil price of $40 per barrel, a daily oil production estimate of 1.86 million barrels, an exchange rate of 379 naira to a dollar, 3% GDP growth, as well as an inflation closing at 11.95%.
In view of many challenges confronting us, we must accelerate our economic recovery process, promote social inclusion, and strengthen the resilience of the economy. I have directed the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planner to finalize the Finance Bill 2020, which will be forwarded for your kind consideration and passage into law. The Finance Bill is to support the realization of our 2021 revenue projections, adopt appropriate counter-cyclical fiscal policies, and enhance the efficiency of fiscal incentives.
As the government proposes, the budget is to be funded by 7.86 trillion naira oil and non-oil revenues, as well as grants and aids, while a deficit of 5.2 trillion naira will be financed mainly by new borrowings, privatization process, and drawdowns on multilateral and bilateral loans secured for specific projects and programs.
Let me emphasize that revenue generation remains our major challenge. Nevertheless, government is determined to tackle the persistent problems with domestic resource mobilization, as there is a limit to deficit financing through borrowing. The time has come for us to maintain a healthy balance between meeting our growing expenditure commitments and our long-term public financial health.
President Muhammadu Buhari noted with pride that progress has been made on several fronts with key policies, programs, and projects in critical priority areas delivered by government.
The 2021 budget was prepared amidst a challenging global and domestic environment due to the persistent headwinds from the coronavirus pandemic. However, we are working assiduously to ensure a rapid recovery in 2021. It is my sincere hope that the National Assembly will pass this bill into law early enough to enable implementation by 1st January 2021.
And to enhance good governance, the President said the nation's anti-corruption agencies have been strengthened to perform more effectively, while emergent cases of insecurity and insurgency are being addressed with innovative approaches towards ridding the country of bandits, kidnappers, and criminal behavior. In Abuja, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
All right, let's discuss the proposed budget a little further, as I'm now being joined in the studio by a financial economist and professor of capital market, Uche Uwaleke. Professor Uwaleke, welcome to NTA Network News.
Thank you very much.
All right, 2021 budget by the President in October. What's your take?
Let me start by commending the executive arm for presenting these proposals early enough in October. That gives the Assembly, sufficient time, to interrogate the budget and then pass the, interrogate the proposals and then pass the appropriation bill. And if that happens, and then we are able to get out the budget by 1st of January, okay, what that means is that this administration will have succeeded in repairing, as it were, the broken budget cycle. I can't remember the last time we had a budget presented on 1st of January. So if that happens, early implementation of the budget, okay, will go a long way in ensuring that we record a lot of, success. I must also say that looking at the budget parameters, in my view, the parameters are largely realistic. The $40 per barrel oil price, for example, if you consider the fact that even this year when we had $28 per barrel in the budget, oil price averaged, according to the the president in his speech, 40.7. So $40 per barrel in my view is realistic. And again, against the backdrop of the fact that some other countries have been using higher figures. Saudi Arabia, for example, has used $50 per barrel. If you look at the crude oil production, 1.86 million barrels per day. In my view, too, that is realistic. Even with this year, for example, even with the OPEC cut we had, we still averaged 1.88 million barrels per day. Okay, what may not really be realistic is the exchange rate of 379 naira. But one would want to understand why the government has chosen to use 379. Because if we had used something in excess of 379, following the unification of rates by the central bank, that could send them a very signal to the public that the government intends to devalue the naira.
Okay,
the assumptions, for example, but I also think the growth rate of 3% GDP is a little ambitious, considering the fact that the COVID-19 effect will linger, into next year. So using 3% might be a little ambitious, but that's not. That's for me. That's not.
What are you apparently have listened to Mr. President? What are the other areas you probably have turned your attention to?
Yes, I think the priorities are right. If you look at the allocation, the works and housing, for example, is getting the largest chunk, followed by transport, transport, works and housing, and power, and then power. And interestingly too, for the very first time in many years, we are seeing education and health getting, over 100 billion, something that is even higher, an amount that is higher than, the allocation for defense. This is for the first time in many years. So I think the priorities have been, rightly set, but again, everything too depends on implementation. And implementation, again, is a function of meeting the revenue targets, that we have set for ourselves.
Let's look at the economy. What do you think the 2021 budget portends for the country, economically speaking now?
Well, economically speaking, if you, against the backdrop of the negative impact of COVID-19, on Nigerians and the difficulties Nigerians have gone through, I think the 2021 budget, if well implemented, portends an improvement in the welfare of Nigerians. Again, as I said, if you look at the priorities and the fact that it is coming from the Economic Sustainability Plan, that has set out also key areas. You have, particularly in the real sector, particularly in agric, for example, where the government is talking about mass agric program. You also have infrastructure. In power, for example, the government is talking about solar, 5 million, solar projects. So the public works program is there. Expansion in the intervention, social intervention, the programs are there, whether Empower, market money, and so on. They're all there. So if they are well implemented, I want to emphasize that too.
Yes.
Okay, that will go a long way in rubbing off positively on the lives of Nigerians.
Okay, very well. It boils down to implementation.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day.
Absolutely.
All right, financial economist and professor of capital market, Uche Walike, thank you for coming on NTA Network News.
My pleasure.
Still talking about the 2021 budget, the National Assembly has pledged expeditious consideration and passage of the 2021 appropriation bill of more than 13 trillion naira presented to a joint session of the National Assembly by President Muhammadu Buhari Thursday. It is in tandem with the commitment of ensuring continuity of the January to December budget cycle. National Assembly correspondent Lameli reports that the laying of the document is in fulfillment of constitutional provisions.
The leadership of the bicameral legislature, in keeping with the resolve of partnership and cooperation with the executive in the economic sustainability and growth plan, diversification and social inclusion, considered the budget as critical. It's noted and commended the proactive stance of the federal government in the fiscal estimate, which took into cognizance the economic and other indices due to the coronavirus pandemic. While acknowledging the diligence in the allocation of resources for developments, the National Assembly pointed to the need for governments to plug leakages and find additional sources of revenue. President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, reiterated that nation building in the interest of all citizens remains a priority for the 9th National Assembly, stressing that the budget, when effectively implemented, will energize the economy and improve the lives of citizens, which is why the National Assembly will not compromise on checks and balances.
As we are about to begin another fiscal plan, we shall be influenced by the desire to consolidate on our gains coming from the hard lessons of the pandemic and on the urgency of sustaining our diversification programs, not only because of the unpredictable nature of oil revenue, but because of recent uncertainties arising from the coronavirus. The National Assembly is again ready to pass the 2021 budget before the end of the year, by the grace of God.
The Speaker, House of Representatives Femi Gbajabiamila, gave a reminder on events in the most part of 2020, which indeed
Development of an economy that is less dependent on fossil fuels and gives to all Nigerians the ability to achieve their dreams, equal to their effort and commitment.
The President, during the presentation of the budget estimates, appreciated the harmonious relationship between the two arms of government. The second reading of the 2021 Appropriation Bill is slated for next week to pave way for MDAs to appear before relevant committees for budget defense. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
And the Senate has mandated its Committee on Appropriations to ensure that senators get copies of the 2021 budget for second reading next week. President of the Senate Ahmad Lawan announced this shortly after the budget was presented by President Muhammadu Buhari.
We would expect our Committee on Appropriations to work round the clock from today. We hope that they will be able to finish by the end of tomorrow or early Saturday and then get these documents to our colleagues. We want to finish the second reading in 2 days or where necessary in 3 days. That's the whole of the legislative week next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So papers will be provided for senators to indicate the day they want to make their contribution, whether it is Tuesday or Wednesday. Nevertheless, we feel that we should take the debate, the second reading of the PIB, on Tuesday, the upper week, 20th. So while we are working on the budget, they can be doing some side work, at least to keep the work on the PIB a little bit warm.
The totality of the Nigerian budget goes to benefit all Nigerians, irrespective of wherever you come from. If the power sector works, if infrastructure sector works, it works to the credit of all of us at the National Assembly and the Executive.
In the meantime, the Buhari Media Organization has described the 2021 budget proposal presented by President Buhari to the National Assembly as a courageous proposal in the face of a global pandemic that is ravaging economies. In a statement, the organization says despite fears of difficulty of implementation, history has shown that President Buhari is a focused person who, when he sets a target to achieve, he more often than not achieves it. According to the BMO, with plugged leakages in the government purse and proper strategic utilization of available resources, the targets proposed in the budget will be met. While commending the National Assembly for its unwavering partnership with President Buhari towards the development of the country, the group calls on the legislature to continue to remain steadfast as patriots. You're watching NTA Network News. I'm back in a moment or two with more stories. Don't go away.
Catchy feelings with a cry.
Amaka, ani kilo shele.
Try. If you do better thing, you drive.
Leave that house now. Amaka. Stay where you are. You are going nowhere. Amaka!
For blockbuster movies like this, series and much more, download the Airtel TV app.
Mr. Announcer, you don't tell them say this film is still there on top of fire. And you say me, we still the shoot, oh.
Download the Airtel TV app from Apple and Android Play Store. Enjoy up to 1.5 gigabyte free data monthly. Airtel TV by Airtel, the smartphone network.
الذين ينفقون أموالهم في سبيل الله كمثل حبة أنبتت 7 سنابل في كل سنبلة 100 حبة.
The national chairman, Jama'atu Izalatul Bid'ah wa Iqamatis Sunnah, Jibwis, Nigeria, Sheikh Imam Dr. Abdullahi Balalau, on behalf of the Executive Council, cordially invite the general public to the foundation laying ceremony of Asalam Global University, Hadeja, Jigawa State. Date, Sunday, 11th of October 2020. Time, 10 a.m. prompt. Venue, Assalam Global University Hadeja Permanent Site, Kilometer 7 Kano Road, Hadeja. Special guest of honor, His Excellency, President Muhammadu Buhari GCFR, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Federal Republic of Nigeria. Chairman of the occasion, His Eminence, Alhaji Muhammad Saad Abubakar CFR, Sultan of Sokoto. Guests of honor, all serving and former governors. Distinguished guests, all serving and former ministers, senators, and honorable members of the National Assembly. Royal Father of the Day, His Royal Highness, Alhaji Dr. Adamu Abubakar Maji, CON, Emir of Hadeja and Chairman, Council of Emirs, Jigawa State. Chief Host, His Excellency, Alhaji Muhammad Badr Abubakar, MON, Governor of Jigawa State and Chairman, Presidential Committee on Non-Oil Revenue. Host, Sheikh Imam Dr. Abdullahi Balalau, National Chairman, Jibwis, Nigeria. Be part of this historic moment.
والله يضاعف لمن يشاء والله واسع عليم.
Federal Ministry of Health and the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, in collaboration with partners, are commencing the Modified Integrated Medical Outreach Program (IMOC) from the 5th of October 2020 in all states and the FCT. Parents, caregivers, bring your children ages 0 to 5 years to health facilities and mobile sessions in your community for free vaccination against childhood killer diseases, treatment of minor ailments, and other basic healthcare services. Pregnant women will receive free antenatal care services and vaccination against tetanus and diphtheria diseases. Caregivers and pregnant women are advised to keep their vaccination cards safe and bring it at every visit to the health facility or immunization session. Immunization is free and safe. Secure the health and future of your children. Protect them from childhood killer diseases now. This message is from the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency with support from partners. For further inquiries, phone the following toll-free line: 080-3123-0415 or 080-3123-0416.
Breath of life! Breath of the next life! Breath of the life of the next life! Una! Arrange your voice, podcast now.
Hola. Shift. Mind yourself. Social distancing, please.
We observe social distance in this house.
Bros, I dey watch you. Maintain your social distance.
You've never done before. Find your first with the best data deals in town. Dial *777#. Glow Unlimited.
Glad to have you back. Let's bring you some of the day's other stories now. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has distributed sensitive election materials to the 18 local government areas of Ondo State for Saturday's election. Doris Olumoko reports.
From air security surveillance to ground policing, the security personnel were on ground to forestall any eventuality as INEC officials distributed sensitive election materials to electoral officers of each of the 18 local government areas of Ondo State. The materials, according to INEC, contained customized ballot papers for each of the local government areas to resist manipulation.
The result sheet runs down from ECA polling unit result sheet, which is customized to that unit, and the EC8B registration result sheet for collation at the registration, customized to that registration area as well.
As a matter of fact, one key thing that they just discussed with us is about the signature of the REC from EC8B and from EC86, and that one is being done by REC now right away, and that's what really happened in Edo State. And we are happy that that one is being replicated here in Ondo State.
We think that's an improvement in the way to go about it, and that we have
arrangement for seamless distribution without delays.
And the distribution is done in the full glare of everybody. Nothing is tampered with. I think they are doing very, very well.
The materials are being moved to each of the 18 local government areas for Saturday's governorship election. In Akure, Doris Ulumoko, NTA News.
And the Department of State Services wishes to assure the public and stakeholders in the Ondo governorship election scheduled for 10th October 2020 of its preparedness for the exercise. In a statement, the Service Public Relations Officer Peter Afunaya says the service will not only partner with sister security agencies but support the Independent National Electoral Commission to ensure a hitch-free gubernatorial election. It also enjoined its personnel to remain professional while discharging their duties. The service therefore urges all players in the electoral process to abide by the rules of the game. Persons and groups that may wish to engage in violent activities leading to breakdown of law and order are advised to desist from such devious plans or be ready to face the full wrath of the law. Now, no face mask, no voting. This is the position of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 for the Ondo governorship election on Saturday. In addition to urging strict compliance with other COVID-19 protocols, the PTF has also asked schools and aviation workers to guard against possible resurgence of cases in the country, as Mitari Ekben reports.
Almost 1.5 million voters are expected to visit their polling units for the Ondo governorship election. The PTF says all preventive measures must be taken to avoid possible spread of COVID-19.
Physical distancing must be enforced, especially in queuing at polling units. Alcohol-based hand sanitizers will be provided. Voters will be brought into the voting area periodically from the outer queue into the inner queue in order to prevent overcrowding. Chairs, tables, and workplaces will be disinfected regularly. PPE will be provided to polling staff, including infrared thermometers for temperature monitoring.
We are again mobilizing 60,000 environmental health emergency response volunteers that will ensure safe reopening of our schools.
Airlines are allowed to come inbound with not more than 200 passengers. But outbound, they can carry as many passengers as possible.
We are obliged to reduce the risk of COVID importation to Nigeria to a minimum, especially since many people who arrive may still be without any symptoms.
Although Nigeria is no longer in the top 5 countries by cumulative deaths in Africa, the Presidential Task Force continues to urge Nigerians to change their attitude of skepticism and nonchalance to the virus.
Meanwhile, the World Health Organization has approved 2 rapid diagnostic test kits for COVID-19.
How reliable are they? It's about 97%. But when we introduce them in a country, like here in Nigeria, we still need to assess whether those performances hold.
We are going to work to define the context in which they can be used over the next few days and publish that on our websites. They are not going to replace PCR-based testing for the population.
The task force says the 3rd phase of ease on COVID-19 restrictions continues until further consultations with all relevant sectors, which will herald new guidelines. In Abuja, Mitari Ekben, NTA News.
Synergy among agencies driving the economy and increased investment in infrastructure through public-private partnership have been identified as key factors for surviving post-COVID-19. Leadership of the Nigerian Shippers Council and the Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission made the disclosure at a collaborative meeting in Abuja. Benny Adams has the details.
The COVID-19 pandemic froze economic activities globally, causing job losses and supply chain disruptions. And Nigeria's dependence on oil for revenue and foreign exchange has made the economy vulnerable. And to stimulate the economy by preventing business collapse and ensuring liquidity, retain or create jobs, government is gradually making progress with all its agencies on their toes. The collaboration here is to make possible increased investment in infrastructure development in the transport sector, with particular reference to the ongoing railway revolution, dry ports, good roads, and deep sea ports. And for that to happen, the Shippers Council say approval for waivers need to be provided.
We need to leverage on the coordinating function of the Commission to help us attract investors and also provide certain incentives, help us get some waivers.
COVID has thrown up a number of opportunities that we advocate for domestic investors in particular to take advantage of. There are a number of sectors, despite the contraction in GDP, that have done particularly well.
Both parties agree on the fact that it's no longer time for tax shops, but synergy based on action for results in the bid to survive beyond COVID-19. Benny Adams, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the renewal of appointment of Dr. Faisal Shuaib as the Executive Director and CEO of the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency for a second and final term of 4 years. In a letter signed by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa says the reappointment is with effect from the 10th of January 2021. During his first tenure, Dr. Shuaib coordinated Nigeria's polio eradication initiatives, which culminated in the certification of Nigeria and Africa as wild polio virus free by the World Health Organization on 25th of August 2020. Let's now join Lagos as Dotun takes us through some of the reports making the rounds.
Thank you, Joseph. A major calamity occurred today at about 5:45 a.m. in Lagos when a gas tanker exploded while dispensing product at a gas station on Kandos Road in Barua, Ikpaja. 5 lives were lost, several persons injured, while many businesses and residential buildings were destroyed. Becky Madujemo reports.
Most residents of Barua, a suburb in Ikpaja, Lagos, reveals that panic started when the intense odor of gas pervaded the atmosphere, even in their homes.
When this incident started around 2:05, we called the emergency number 112 for more than 30 minutes. They could not answer us.
Many who predicted a looming disaster acted fast.
I don't run like, let's say, 5 meters before I hear
what I saw, I was crying.
While the gas was being discharged, generator was on. With the little leakage from the discharge process, it ignited fire.
The explosion produced heartbreaking fatalities.
5 people have been confirmed dead. 8 were rescued alive. Among the 8 were 3 who are a family member, the mother and 2 children.
Survivors with varying degrees of injuries are receiving treatment at the Bagada Hospital Burns Unit. In terms of property, 25 houses were damaged, 16 shops were torched. A private school and a hotel now bear the impact.
But we knew this kind of event will eventually happen.
They alerted me that there is another one under construction, and immediately I called the town planning authority.
We know that it's going to take adequate steps at the House Assembly to regulate all this.
Meanwhile, the Director General of the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, Olufemi Oke Osoitolu, in a statement, enjoins residents to report unsafe practices within their neighborhoods to the relevant rescue agencies. The statement adds that precautionary measures, including issuance of contravention notices and sealing up of premises, will be implemented to prevent further disasters. In Lagos, Becky Madujemo, NTA News.
Away from the gas explosion, as Plans are being finalized towards the total closure of a section of the Third Mainland Bridge as part of the ongoing rehabilitation from midnight Friday, 9th October. Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, during an inspection of the repair works on bridges in Lagos, appreciated the patience and cooperation of motorists with several infrastructure renewal projects across the state. The Third Mainland Bridge, Eco Bridge and Marine Beach Bridge in Lagos are among 50 others across the country currently undergoing repair or rehabilitation as part of the National Infrastructure Maintenance Framework aimed at promoting routine maintenance of these critical infrastructure. This inspection by the minister is a mini probe into details as he made his first stop at the Eco Bridge, where about 83% of the job has been completed.
There's a larger contract to totally rehabilitate the entire Eco Bridge, lighting, drainage, re-asphalting.
The rehabilitation of the Marine Beach Bridge, which is a critical road network to the Lagos ports, has left motorists bearing the resultant gridlock. The minister, who addressed the worries of motorists like Augustine, emphasized the need to carry out maintenance work as a matter of emergency due to years of neglect.
We appreciate the understanding that residents, businessmen, shippers, transporters, especially doing business in Apapa, have shown.
On the Third Mainland Bridge, the 3 expansion joints that have been changed are already being prepared for casting, necessitating the proposed 48-hour closure. Let's now take our second break on the network news. Joseph will be back with more reports.
The money, plenty day to win for the 9 Mobile Mega Millions promo. 1 million naira for one person every day for 90 days. 2 smartphones every hour, every day for 90 days. 10 million naira star prize today. New customers just come with side or buy a new line, and we go send you free 1 gigabyte plus 500 naira airtime. So make you the recharge 200 naira or more. Make you for the win.
9 Mobile.
For over 70 years, we've protected our homes against germs together. And now is no different. So let's disinfect and protect our floors and surfaces every day. Dettol. Protect what's worth fighting for.
Like every mother, I'm worried about dangerous insects, especially mosquitoes, which spread diseases like malaria to my loved ones. This year, I'm not afraid. I'm using New Mortein Insta-Kill. New Mortein Insta-Kill's improved formulation knocks down mosquitoes 2 times faster. Not even a single mosquito is spared because even one mosquito bite can cause malaria. Mortein Insta knocks down mosquitoes 2 times faster.
Make a load recharge card, I beg. I don't find the money.
Plenty day to win for the 9 Mobile Mega Millions promo. 1 million naira for one person every day for 90 days. 2 smartphones every hour, every day for 90 days. 10 million naira star prize today. New customers just come with side or buy a new line, and we go send you free 1 gigabyte plus 500 naira airtime. So make you the recharge 200 naira or more. Make you for the win.
9 Mobile.
You're still watching NTA Network News, and we are back in Abuja. Federal government has concluded plans to begin hourly train services and introduce electronic tickets on the Abuja-Kaduna route. Managing Director, Nigerian Railway Corporation, made this known at an unscheduled tour of the Idu Railway Station, Abuja. Oinaya Kaluka has more.
At the ticketing section, the managing director, NRC, who represented the Minister of Transportation, Chibike Rotimi Amechi, frowned at the way tickets are sold to passengers without proper filling of the manifest. He said this contributes to ticket racketeering, which has to stop.
We have provided information that we provided. Okay? Is it government that is doing this one now?
It was an interactive session at the waiting lounge as passengers commended federal government's efforts at reviving the railway sector. They called for the introduction of electronic ticketing in tackling this challenge.
Several occasions when you come as early as possible, they'll tell you their ticket is finished.
At least to reduce the congestion, they should increase the frequency of the train.
Continuous process of trying to improve and protect lives and property.
The managing director, NRC, Fidiet Okaire, disclosed that government is introducing hourly train service with 14 trips daily, as well as electronic tickets in 2 months' time.
We hope in November everything will be in place and the 7 return trips, making 14 trips a day, will start. That's when we get near the hourly train. Before the end of the month, the first stage of people being able to buy tickets online will start, while we await the physical infrastructure.
With a total of 36 coaches and 6 locomotives, the Abuja-Kaduna standard gauge rail line is expected to ease the stress of traveling. Oyinaya Kalu Oka, NTA.
The Minister of State, Federal Minister of Works and Housing, Abubakar Aliyu, says the federal government is deeply concerned with the deplorable condition of some parts of Gombe-Yola Road, contrary to the publication on the social media. In a statement, the minister said the portion is being adequately assessed, redesigned and procurement process completed as an additional work to the subsisting contract for the rehabilitation of the road, which the Federal Executive Council already approved. However, the delay in the commencement of the work by the contractor is associated to the rainy season. In the interim, the contractor is carrying out palliative works to keep the road motorable. The federal government says it is adopting a new model of intervention to compensate for agricultural loss to flooding in some parts of the country. Speaking on NTA's News and Current Affairs program Late Edition, Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development Mohammed Sabona Nunu says the intervention would comprise empowerment of critical players in the agricultural supply chain.
The situation in the agricultural sector is not all that bad. And I think one of the strategies that we are going to use now is to empower Padama farmers, irrigation, dry season farming, especially for maize and rice.
Within this second phase of his government, we should be able to attain food security. And the other things that we want the Honorable Minister to assist us to do is that there's this issue of tractorization of farming that is having a problem because of no access to land.
Into the question on the fluctuation of prices of food crops, the minister hints that the situation is stabilizing as prices of paddy rice and other staples are gradually coming down. The contribution of Professor Akim Oyerinde on food safety and security is quite assuring. Meanwhile, smallholder farmers in Umunechi and Umuahia North local government areas of Abia State have been trained on methods of engagement in the Anchor Borrowers program of the federal government to boost production of farm produce. The training in 2 local government areas attracted more than 5,000 participants. Steve Lonai Mwakolo reports.
Test Nigeria's negative balance of payments on food and assist smallholder farmers to boost the production of farm produce, the federal government, through the Central Bank of Nigeria, established the Anchor Borrowers Program in 2015. The thrust of the Anchor Borrowers Program is to provide farm inputs by way of soft loans to boost the production of some identified farm produce, such as rice, cassava, Benny seed, amongst others.
I have to ensure that I cascade the policies of government, particularly to my state, to Nigerians as a whole.
It works in a way that we gather organized farmers, group them into what we call smallholders farmers.
And use it to produce feed for animals.
In Umuahia, Steve Lonai, Waukulu, NTA News.
Commercial activities are gradually picking up at the Onitsha River Port following the arrival of the first barge with containers on Sunday after several years of lying fallow.
Built in 1983 and renovated in 2012, the Onitsha River Port had remained underutilized for decades. With the arrival of the first barge with containers at the weekend in what appears to be the test running of the port, hope has arisen among the business community in Onitsha that the port will soon come to life.
To create job opportunity for our youth. And aside from job opportunity, there will be much cash flow.
River Niger in particular is navigable now all year round due to constant development and maintenance. So every other impediment, maybe on water, whatever it is, the authority is taking charge.
Now that we are already sailing, if eventually the water begins to, get down, management will deem it necessary to see that the channels where these barges are sailing will be dredged.
The Managing Director, National Inland Waterways Authority, Dr. George Moralo, who inaugurated the first barge at the weekend, promised that Onitsha River Port will be fully operational in 2021. From Onitsha, Uchenna Nwekoyo, NTA News.
A bit on security now. The new subsidiary Air Operation Kashimugu 2 of the air component of Operation Thunder Strike has hit some bandits' camps and neutralized scores at their hideouts in the forests and border areas of Kaduna State. A statement by the Coordinator Defense Media Operation Defense Headquarters, Major General John Enenche, says the air strikes were executed at Camp Alpha in Kuyambana Forest, as well as Fadaman, Kanauta and Janbrine, after credible intelligence reports, surveillance and reconnaissance missions established that the locations were being used by the bandits as staging areas to store their logistics, hide rustled cattle and launch attacks. Two women, one from Africa and the other Asian, advanced to the final round to become the next Director General of World Trade Organization, as the body predicts 9.2% fall in world trade in 2020. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday reports.
The two finalists are Nigeria's former Finance Minister Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala and South Korean Trade Minister Yoo Moo-hee. 164 members of the organization gave their preferences to streamline the candidates down to two in the race, which began with 8 contestants. By early November, a winner will be selected. The winner will replace Brazilian Roberto Azevedo, who stepped down at the end of August, a year earlier than expected. The 25-year-old trade body has never had a female leader or one from Africa.
I would love it if it were me, because I think I'm qualified to lead.
In another development, the body says world merchandise trade is expected to fall by 9.2% in 2020, followed by a 7.2% rise in 2021, and warned that any recovery could be disrupted by the effect of the ravaging pandemic.
A resurgence of COVID-19 requiring new lockdowns could reduce global GDP growth by 2 to 3 percentage points.
Adebola Brookslyn Sunday, NTA News.
Barely 24 hours after the appointment of the new Emir of Zauzau, some ruling houses and council members have paid homage to the new Emir, signaling their readiness to close ranks with him in moving the Emirate Council forward. Sagir Mohammed Awal reports that the Emir Ahmed Nuhu Bamali pledged to consolidate on the successes of his immediate predecessor and appealed for support.
It has been an established tradition for contenders to the throne to pay homage and bear allegiance to whoever emerges as the new emir. This played out when some contenders from various ruling houses in Zazzau Emirates took turn to congratulate the new emir and pledge allegiance to him.
We will try our all possible best to achieve all what he wants to achieve.
With a due cooperation from various houses, he will carry everything simultaneously without any hitches along the way.
We wish the new emir long life, prosperity during his reign.
Meanwhile, Emir of Zazzau, Alhaji Ahmed Nuhu Bamali, has been speaking on the need to consolidate on the successes recorded by running all-inclusive administration.
To come together so that we can continue to build on the foundation laid by our predecessors.
It has been a beehive of activities at the Emir's palace as people from all walks of life troop in to pay homage. In Zaria, I'm Sagir Muhammad Awal, NTA News.
The Director General, National Council for Arts and Culture, Olusegun Orishewe, says the cordial relationship between Nigeria and the Republic of Bangladesh has created a strong bond which opened a window for cultural diplomacy between both countries. At the send-forth ceremony for the outgoing Bangladesh High Commissioner to Nigeria, the Director General noted that the harmonious diplomatic relationship Nigeria shares with Bangladesh in promoting cultural activities will bring about unity of purpose.
With total sense of emotions. Honestly, I wish His Excellency will remain in Nigeria for the rest of his life. I've worked with so many diplomats, but this gentleman is different. This gentleman loves his country with passion.
The outgoing High Commissioner of the People's Republic of Bangladesh, MD Shamin Ahassan, commended NCAC for its initiatives to strengthen the ties.
Through art and culture, and eventually creating greater bondage and understanding between countries and communities.
The outgoing Bangladesh High Commissioner was posted to Nigeria in 2017. Let's now take sports with Tamara Ebiwe.